Hello again, NCAC sports fans, and welcome back to another episode of This Week in the NCAC. I'm your host, Brett Billhart. On this week's show, we'll take a look back at all the action from across the North Coast Athletic Conference for the week ending on Sunday, March the 24th. For the second time in as many weeks, we have the distinct honor of congratulating an NCAC squad for capturing an NCAA Division III national championship as the Kenyon College men's swimming and diving squad collected their 32nd national title all-time at last weekend's NCAA Division III Swimming and Diving Championships, which were held at the Conroe Natatorium in Shenandoah, Texas. The Lords outdueled two-time defending national champion Denison by 71.5 points, as the Big Red finished second in the men's standings with 428 points, while DePaul was 13th in the final standings with 105 points. In the women's competition, the Kenyon ladies finished second behind four-time national champion Emory with 483 points, while Denison was third with 363. DePaul and Worcester tied for 27th with 19 points each, and Ohio Wesleyan tied for 30th with 18. In all, NCAC student-athletes were crowned national champions in 13 different events, while Kenyon head coach Jess Book was named the Swimming Coach of the Year by his peers on both the men's and women's side. In addition, Kenyon diving coach Andy Scott garnered Women's Diving Coach of the Year laurels, and Denison's Jason Glorious was voted the Diving Coach of the Year on the men's side. Earning individual event national championships from the NCAC were Kenyon freshman Mariah Zarka on the women's 3-meter board, Kenyon senior Hannah Size in the women's 200 fly, Kenyon sophomore Celia Oberholzer in the women's 100 back, Denison junior Al Wyke in both the men's 500 and 1650 freestyle events, Denison freshman Ben Lewis on the men's 1-meter board, Kenyon sophomore Austin Caldwell in the men's 200 free, and finally Kenyon senior Ian Stewart Bates in the men's 100 free. Fans, for complete results and a conference-wide recap of the national meet, simply navigate to either the men's or women's swimming and diving homepage on the NCAC website. Let's now open the spring sports portion of this week's show by breaking down men's and women's lacrosse action from last week. First, for the men, NCAC squads opened up conference play on Saturday with Denison, Kenyon, Hiram, and Ohio Wesleyan all coming away with victories. Hiram cracked the win column for the first time this season as the Terriers knocked off DePaul 14-9 in the first ever NCAC matchup between the two squads. Hiram freshman attack Chris Lakin lifted the Terriers to victory with 5 goals, including the game winner, to go along with 2 assists for 7 total points. The freshman from North Olmsted, Ohio, was named this week's NCAC Men's Lacrosse Player of the Week award winner for his efforts. In other league action, Kenyon junior Will Lowe scored 3 goals, including the game winner in overtime to help lift the Lords past Wittenberg 7-6, while Denison held off Worcester for a 10-7 victory, led by junior Eddie Vida, who scored 3 goals and dished out 1 assist in the win. NCAC men's lacrosse action is slated to continue this week with 1 game on Tuesday, 1 on Friday, and 3 more on Saturday. Women's lacrosse also got its conference season underway last week as Kenyon knocked off Oberlin 13-11 in Gambier on Thursday. The ladies were led by junior Alex Baer, who scored the final 2 goals of the contest to help secure the 2-goal victory over the Yeowomen. In addition, DePaul remained perfect in its inaugural season of competition after posting victories over Albion and Trine. Freshman Elizabeth McCracken was named the NCAC Women's Lacrosse Player of the Week after totaling 18 points with 11 goals and 7 assists. And finally, Allegheny has reeled off back-to-back wins on its spring trip in Oregon as the Gators defeated Linfield 21-3 on March 18th and then handed Pacific its first setback of the season on March 21st by a 14-13 margin. NCAC Women's Lacrosse League games continue this Saturday as DePaul will host Hiram, Wittenberg travels to Ohio Wesleyan, and Allegheny entertains Denison. There was very minimal action in golf across the conference last week as weather played havoc on numerous events. One event that wasn't affected by weather was the annual Camp Lejeune Intercollegiate Golf Championship in North Carolina. The DePaul men's team was the lone NCAC team to compete at the event, and the Tigers finished 7th of 16 teams in the Scarlet Course Championship after carding a 54-hole total of 903. DPU sophomore Brandon Beckering did earn NCAC Men's Golfer of the Week accolades after finishing the event with 222 total strokes, which included rounds of 71, 76, and 75. 3 women's squads competed in Alliance, Ohio on Saturday at the weather-shortened Mount Union Spring Invitational at Tannenhof Golf Club. Wittenberg ran away with the team title after carding a team score of 326 on the par 72, 6,145-yard course. Worcester was 6th in the final team standings with 396 strokes, while Hiram was 9th with 420. Wittenberg sophomore Carolyn Wong was named the NCAC Women's Golfer of the Week after claiming medalist honors at the event with an 18-hole total of 78. Only 3 league golf teams are scheduled to compete this week, as the DePaul women's team wraps up competition at the Low Country Intercollegiate in Hilton Head, and the Allegheny and Wittenberg men's squads participate in the West Cup in Laverne, California. Shifting our attention to the courts, let's now look at NCAC men's and women's tennis action from last week. The Allegheny women went 2-1 in Hilton Head, earning wins against Center and McAllister. Gator junior Carolyn Shetter garnered NCAC Women's Tennis Player of the Week accolades after posting a 3-0 record at number 1 singles and a 2-1 mark in the top doubles position. In addition, Denison extended its current winning streak to 9 straight after earning back-to-back 9-0 victories over Ohio Wesleyan and Walsh. In men's tennis action, Wabash extended its winning streak to 4 straight with a pair of victories against Rose Hallman and Baldwin Wallace. Little Giant sophomore Mark Troiano posted a perfect 2-0 record at number 4 singles and paired with junior Dan Delgado at number 1 doubles for an 8-6 win against Rose Hallman and an 8-2 triumph over Albion. Troiano was named the NCAC Men's Tennis Player of the Week for his efforts. The Allegheny men closed out the final week of its spring trip in Hilton Head with victories over Center, Wisconsin Eau Claire, and McAllister, while Kenyon, the top-ranked team in the nation, easily handled number 24 Mary Washington by an 8-1 margin on Saturday. NCAC divisional tennis action is scheduled to resume this week on the men's side with 2 matches on the slate, while women's squads will resume non-conference action throughout the week. Moving on to the Diamond, we will now take a look at NCAC baseball and softball action from last week. The Denison Big Red softball team extended its current winning streak to 4 straight with a doubleheader sweep over Mount St. Joe's on Saturday. Junior pitcher Kelsey Hager stole the show in the pitching circle as she tossed her second career no-hitter in DU's 11-1 victory over MSJ in the nightcap. The junior from Louisville, Kentucky allowed 1 earned run, walked 1, and struck out 3 en route to her 3rd win of the season. Hager did collect NCAC Softball Pitcher of the Week accolades for her efforts. The weekly Player of the Week honor in softball also went to the Big Red, as senior Jess Robertson collected the award after hitting .429 with an .857 slugging percentage in the twin bill. The senior from Mount Gilead, Ohio, went a combined 3 for 7 on the afternoon with a homer, 6 RBI, and 3 runs scored. In addition, Worcester split its final 4 games in Fort Myers, Florida, defeating Polytechnic 1-0 and Hamilton 5-4, while Wittenberg split a double dip with Thomas More on Saturday, falling in the opener 5-4 before winning 4-2 in the nightcap. The league portion of the softball schedule is slated to begin this weekend with 3 conference doubleheaders on Saturday. In baseball, Allegheny picked up 5 wins in Florida last week, defeating Plattsburgh State twice, Hope, and Hamilton twice. Sophomore pitcher Steven Ramsdell was dominant on the hill as he recorded 2 complete game shutouts and a no-hitter. The sophomore from Northeast Pennsylvania recorded 6 strikeouts and didn't allow a hit in the Gators' 11-0 victory over Hamilton on Friday. He also set 2 batters down on strikes in his 1-0 victory over Plattsburgh State on Monday. Ramsdell did collect NCAC Baseball Pitcher of the Week laurels following his strong performance in Florida. Wittenberg swept a doubleheader against Mount Union on Saturday in Springfield, led by this week's NCAC Baseball Player of the Week recipient Tyler Hutchinson. The junior from Lebanon, Ohio, powered the Tigers to the sweep after going 3 for 5 on the day with 2 home runs, 1 double, 4 RBI, and 2 runs scored. In the opener, Hutchinson knocked in the game-winning run on a walk-off double in the bottom of the 7th inning. In addition, Hiram went 4-0 over the weekend with back-to-back doubleheader sweeps over Penn State Fayette and Pitt Greensburg, while DePaul has opened its spring trip in Florida with a 3-1 record after splitting with Southern Maine on Saturday and sweeping St. Olaf in a twin bill on Sunday. Conference Divisional Baseball series are also scheduled to kick off across the league this weekend, with DePaul hosting Denison, Oberlin traveling to Hiram, Kenyon entertaining Worcester, and Wittenberg visiting Wabash. Finally, we'll close out this week's show by recognizing our Athlete of the Week award winners for men's and women's track and field. First, for the men, the weekly award for distance and middle distance events was awarded to Denison senior Jacob Ott, who finished 19th in the 5,000-meter run at the W&L VMI Carnival with the league's top time to date in the event after clocking a 15:35.59. Wabash sophomore Ronnie Postauer earned the award for sprint and hurdle events after turning in the top Division III mark of the season in the 110-meter hurdles with a time of 14.51 seconds at the Indiana Wesleyan Polar Bear Invitational. The final men's weekly award for field events went to Wabash sophomore Derek Day St. Jean. The St. John, Indiana native posted top 4 finishes in 3 different events, including 4th in the shot put with a school record heave of 51 feet 1 inch. He was also 2nd in the hammer and 4th in the discus at Indiana Wesleyan. The first women's award for distance and middle distance events went to Ohio Wesleyan freshman Abby Worth, who led the Battling Bishops to a 3rd-place finish at Muskingum's Amy Adams Memorial by winning the 800-meter run with a time of 2:19:38. And Denison freshman Aideen Brennan collected the final Women's Weekly Award for field events after finishing 2nd in the heptathlon at the W&L VMI Carnival with a score of 4,205 points. NCAC track and field squads resume action this weekend, highlighted by Worcester hosting its annual Worcester Invitational on Saturday and Oberlin traveling to Georgia for the Emory Invitational. NCAC spring sports fans, with the recent string of inclement weather throughout the region, be sure to check the schedule and results pages on the NCAC website for up-to-date cancelizations and postponements throughout the week. And as always, for up-to-date news, stats, and standings from around the North Coast Athletic Conference, you can log on to our website at www.northcoast.org. Also, be sure to follow us on Twitter at NCAC, as well as like us on Facebook. And for the entire conference staff, I'm Brett Billhart, and thanks for watching.